Good morning, children, and welcome back to today's literature class. So, we all love watching butterflies, right? They're so beautiful and they're such unique, amazing creatures. So, butterflies are insects and they're so beautiful and colorful. So, you can see the babies over here, how they're enjoying looking at the butterflies and their beauty. You can see how they're enjoying playing with it. So before we start today's class, I want to show you this really informative video which will tell you about the life cycle of a butterfly, how a butterfly transforms from a caterpillar to a beautiful, colorful, pretty butterfly.
A butterfly lays eggs on the leaves of a plant. These eggs hatch, and young ones called larvae, or caterpillars, come out of the eggs. The caterpillar first feeds on the eggshell from which it is born. It then starts feeding on the leaves and starts to grow. The caterpillar sheds its skin several times so that it can grow. Once the caterpillar is big enough, it stops eating. It then forms a protective layer around itself. This stage is called chrysalis. In this stage, the caterpillar is now called pupa. The pupa remains motionless in the chrysalis. Inside the chrysalis, the pupa undergoes a series of changes. After about 15 days, a beautiful adult butterfly emerges out of the chrysalis. When the butterfly comes out, its wings are small and wet. The butterfly pumps fluids into its wings to make them strong and to expand. After a few hours, the wings become strong enough and the butterfly is able to fly.
So you just saw this very informative video uh, and this whole process is called metamorphosis. Okay, so the way a butterfly transforms from a caterpillar to this beautiful, pretty butterfly is called metamorphosis. So now let's come back to literature. And why I showed you this video is because today our lesson is about a butterfly. And it's a poem called To a Butterfly written by William Wordsworth. So, William Wordsworth was an English poet who wrote on various topics, although a majority of them were about nature and its beauty. So, according to William Wordsworth, nature is a powerful, mostly beneficent force in the world. So, he believed in the power, the beauty of nature. And he also believed that governments could protect people and nature. And most of his poems also tell you about the magic of childhood. He believed in the magic of childhood and how one is closest to God and the natural world during childhood. He believed that the childhood, the phase of being a child, was the best phase in a person's life, because at that time a person is the closest to nature and God. It's almost magical. So he believed in nature and magic of childhood. So, celebrating the beauty of nature. Wordsworth poems are mostly about celebrating the beauty of nature. He was a romantic poet who believed in the inherent beauty and goodness of nature. He wrote many poems that explored nature and the values of solitude and peace. He rejected the modern life of his time, which he thought cut people off from the natural world. So, the prelude written by Wordsworth is considered to be his best work. So, in this poem, Wordsworth meditates on his life and what comforts him the most as he nears death. And what is it? It's God's presence and finding divinity in nature, beauty, and love. And you must have heard about another famous poem of Wordsworth called The Daffodils. So if you have not, you can just go through this poem. You can search this on the net and you can just read the poem. It's beautiful. It's also about nature and the beauty and magic of childhood. So Wordsworth poetry was influenced by the European landscapes he loved. So he loved the beautiful sceneries and the nature of England, and most of his poems were based on that. So later in life, Wordsworth devoted himself to his family and career as England's poet laureate. So he was England's poet laureate, which means a poet who is officially appointed by a government and is expected to compose poems for government events and other occasions related to the state. So he was appointed as England's poet laureate. So we can understand that he was a very celebrated poet of England. So let's read this poem, To a Butterfly, written by William Wordsworth. So you can open your book to page number 42 and pay attention while I read the poem. Page number 42. To a Butterfly. I have watched you now a full half hour, self poised upon that yellow flower. And little butterfly, indeed, I know not if you sleep or feed. How motionless, not frozen seas, more motionless. And then, what joy awaits you when the breeze hath found you out among the trees and calls you forth again. This plot of orchard ground is ours. My trees they are, my sister's flowers. Here rest your wings when they are weary. Here lodge as in a sanctuary. Come often to us, fear no wrong. Sit near us on the bough. We'll talk of sunshine and of song and summer days when we were young. Sweet, childish days that were as long as 20 days are now. So you see what a beautiful poem it is. So this poem is called a lyric poem. It is known as a lyric poem. So, what is a lyric poem? It's actually a poem which shows a deep appreciation for nature, and it's almost musical. It's very emotional. So, the poet's emotion comes out in a lyric poem, and it's very musical. It has a very musical note to it. So, it's called a lyric poem. So let me explain each line, okay? So I have watched you now a full half hour, self poised upon that yellow flower. So the poet is saying that the poet is watching the butterfly sitting on a yellow flower for a long time. Okay, so it has been almost half an hour since he's looking at this beautiful butterfly on the yellow flower. So here, let me tell you, the color yellow is very like it comes often in Wordsworth's poems. So, because yellow, the color yellow, it symbolizes something very fresh, something very happy, something very positive, full of energy. So, he is watching for half an hour that a beautiful butterfly is sitting on an yellow flower. Here, self poised, it means sitting gracefully. It means that the butterfly is very calm, very composed. Self poised, it means sitting gracefully and is very calm and composed. So the butterfly is very calm and composed. And little butterfly, indeed, I know not if you sleep or feed. So you can understand that the butterfly is very small, very little, tiny it is, but very beautiful. And indeed, I know not if you sleep or feed. So it is sitting gracefully and it is so still that the poet is saying that he cannot understand whether the butterfly is sleeping or it's feeding on the nectar of the flower, of the yellow flower. Okay? How motionless, not frozen seas more motionless. So again, the poet tells us that the butterfly is sitting so still on the flower that it seems that it has no motion, it cannot move, it is so still. So the poet is very amazed and like he is shocked that how can the butterfly be so still, it is not moving at all, and it is so motionless that the frozen seas are not so motionless as the butterfly is. So he makes a comparison between the sea and the butterfly, and he says that even a frozen sea is not as still, as poised as the butterfly is. What joy awaits you when the breeze hath found you out among the trees and calls you forth again? So the poet wonders at what joy the butterfly will get if the breeze will find it among the trees and calls it to once again join him. So he is wondering how much joy the butterfly will feel when it will be windy again. The wind will blow, breeze will be there. So breeze is very soft, soothing wind blowing. Okay, so whenever the wind blows softly, very sweetly, it's called the breeze. So the poet is saying that the butterfly will be very happy and it will be full of joy when it will feel the breeze on its wings, and the butterfly will get the message that the breeze wants the butterfly to fly again. So he is wondering what joy the butterfly will get if the breeze finds it among the trees, finds it among the trees, and will once again call the butterfly to join him as if they were playing a game of hide and seek. Okay, so so imagine that the breeze and the butterfly, they're playing a game of hide and seek, and the breeze will find the butterfly, and it will again call the butterfly to fly and play with it. So it's like that. Here, hath means has. So this is actually an archaic word. So what are archaic words? Archaic words are words that were once widely used but are no longer part of the English language. Many archaic words were used during the Middle Ages. So you can see a few examples over here, like thou, it means you. Die, it was used before, it's not used anymore, it means your. Thine, it means yours. Then you can see hath over here, it means has. Doth, it means does. So these words are archaic words. You can most of the time find them in all these poems and classic novels or stories, but these words were used mostly in the Middle Ages but are not used anymore. So here hath means has. So we can understand that the poet is addressing a beautiful butterfly with lots of love, with lots of affection. So the poet is amazed at the beauty of the butterfly, and he is also amazed at the perfect stillness of the butterfly. He's amazed at the perfect stillness of the butterfly, and he's also waiting that how happy and how delightful the butterfly will be when it will start flying again, when the breeze will call it, when the breeze will tease it. So the main focus here is on the joy of the poet at seeing this beautiful butterfly. Okay, so we'll continue in our next class with the second stanza. So that's all for today, and you can just go through these slides, this video, and read this paragraph, this first paragraph again and again. Try to understand the beauty in it. And also, I have one small task for you. You already know about personification, about the figure of speech personification. It's giving human characteristics to non-living things. So here there is one personification that is used by Wordsworth. You have to find that, okay? And you can just make a note of it over here. You can just make a note of it in your textbook. We'll discuss about that in our next class. Thank you.